Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back with Sew the Trends. I'm in Covent Garden with lots of beautiful plants behind me, and I'm about to go and look in all the high street shops and find some amazing stuff for you to sew this winter. So I will take you with me and report back. So I've done quite a few of the high street shops now, and I'm just on Floral Street, which you can see behind me, and it's got loads of really lovely independents, so I'm going to have a look in there. But I've done H&M, Arquette, all the sort of core big high street shops. I think my takeaway so far is it seems like everything's quite muted colour wise, not many prints, and lots of tailoring. Sorry if you can hear building work, because there's always building work in London. Right, gonna get on. Right, so I think that's me done. I have been in everywhere. I've got loads of really good pattern ideas, and I've got I think I've got a good overview of what is in the season. And the good news is I think everyone can get something from it, so I'll report back. Hi everyone, so back from town, done my research, and I think there are loads of patterns. So if you haven't got a cup of tea, or you're not comfortable, get comfortable, because I think this video is going to be quite a long one. I've got loads to talk you through. So before we get started, fabrications, because that's also a huge part of this, as well as the shape. Obviously everyone knows there is the beginning of a recession, there is the cost of living crisis. There are lots of things going on in the world that is making everything quite uncertain at the moment, and I felt that was really reflected in the retail world, especially in clothing. I think everyone played it quite safe this year, which I was slightly, when I was looking, I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. But actually, having gone away, looked at everything, kind of consolidated it, I actually think for us as makers and using what you have in your wardrobe already, I think you can kind of recalibrate loads of stuff and make it into a really interesting sort of winter wardrobe. So for me, not very many prints at all. Most things were plain colours, quite muted colours, which is also quite traditional of like a recession, and obviously it's winter as well, but I think kind of more muted colours, not prints. The kind of key items were things that really kind of quite classic things that you'd probably wear over and over again. All of these things are great because you want to make things that you'll wear season after season. So actually the kind of core thing I felt personally, having looked in all the shops and also looked online at all the styling and how everything's styling, to me it seems like layering is the core trend of this year, which obviously with everyone being cold with the cost of living crisis, that's handy. But that you can use items that you've got in your wardrobe. It's basically styling this season, so how you put them all together. So I bet there are things that you've got in your wardrobe that you haven't worn, or you aren't sure how to kind of wear, and I think with a couple of things you could sew a couple of things, or you could sew an entire new wardrobe. But there's some really great things. So I'm going to show you the layering so you can get a bit more of an idea. Lots and lots of mixing of textures with the layering. You can see that there's like a kind of that whistles coat that's kind of like a teddy bobbly kind of texture, worn with a crisp shirt underneath, and then a polo neck piece of knitwear underneath that. The Zara blouse, there were lots of changes in proportion, so this sort of slightly shorter jumper with a longer shirt underneath, and you can see that it's really sheer, and actually they're really interesting mix of materials together. The jigsaw, those are both jigsaw, the other two, and I really liked the use of the kind of mixing of the fabrics and colours in this. And again, the jigsaw one has a white shirt, but worn with a Breton top, which I thought was an interesting kind of way of doing it. This is another piece I just wanted to show you, that this jumper actually from COS is actually the same jumper, just in different colours, but worn completely differently. And I feel like you know, you can wear it with a shirt and it's very appropriate for work or a day look, and then wearing it without anything underneath it, that item could be worn as a kind of going out top. So it's kind of looking at what you've got and kind of twisting things around a bit. So I'm going to start with a few kind of core things that were really, really popular. So the first one I've entitled, you remember, was it last summer or the summer before, the cold shoulder detail. This was everywhere, that kind of cut out detail around the shoulder. I'm calling this trend the cold arm. I'm sorry, it's a really bad dad joke, but it made me chuckle. Loads and loads of gilets, waistcoats, coats, pieces of knitwear, all with sleeveless, all sleeveless. So first thing is you can look through some of the patterns that you already have. Could you make any of these without a sleeve? Just leave the sleeve off. That's an option, but I've also got some really nice patterns to go through with you. So I'm going to get started. So if you're looking at, we're looking here at the Zara waistcoat, that really gorgeous kind of classic waistcoat. I thought that the Merchant and Mills Miller waistcoat, sorry, would be perfect for this. So this comes in a paper and PDF version. It is available in sizes 6 to 30. Fabric for this is quite versatile. You can use a cotton, you could use some suiting, you could use a thickish wool. So really you could play around with whatever you've got in your stash, or you could buy yourself something beautiful. But I thought this piece was really good. I saw lots of waistcoats on the high street. This is like a classic men's kind of waistcoat, button down the front. You can see it's got a kind of, the back is made in a softer fabric, like a traditional waistcoat is. So that, I thought, ticked that box. If you're thinking, I really like this sort of padded waistcoat option, which I think would be really nice, kind of like a gilet that you wear at home, I thought the New Craft House everyday waistcoat would work perfectly for this. The great thing about this waistcoat, you can see actually it's very simple in terms of the construction, but it's got a bias binding that goes all the way around the armholes and all the way around the neckline. So if you wanted to make this quilted, it would be really easy to do. You could add a layer of batting in the middle, sandwich the two together, do your quilting design, and then finish it off with the binding. So you could definitely recreate that if you wanted to. The last option, there were quite a lot of, I'll show you back again, the mango, that mango coat, and also the And Other Stories, these sort of slightly sporty outerwear items without sleeves. I thought, now I'm just going to say, let's look through the imagery to the line drawing. The new look, N6713, actually the photography for this isn't too bad. But if I show you the line drawing, you can see that sort of, the gilet version, the sleeveless version, zip up the front. I like this because I feel like this kind of ticks both of those boxes. I think you could make this in something like a faux shearling, or in that sort of textured fleece that's called Borg, which is actually what they've made it in. And I really like actually that they've done the pocket in a different fabric on the front, and I think that, again, you could play around with different fabrications for this. So I thought those three would make a really good kind of starting point for your cold arm. The other kind of really big trend that was everywhere and I love, so I was really excited about this, I've called it big neck energy. Again, another really bad dad joke. So the polo neck is very much in the season. There are two kind of core styles with it. You can see on the left we've got And Other Stories and Whistles, the kind of big oversized piece of knitwear, really boxy. It comes down kind of quite low, kind of longer than a standard jumper. Quite often some of them have slits in the side, but that was the kind of first one. The other option is kind of the polar opposite, is really tight fitting. This is a really good base layer, perfect for layering. This could be your starting point for an outfit and wear it underneath other things that you've got in your wardrobe, or a dress, or, you know. So I think the kind of tight polo neck is a really useful item for your wardrobe. So if we go back then to the baggy kind of big boxy one, I thought that the ready to sew Jocko pullover would be a really nice option. If I show you the line drawing, actually I've got ahead of myself. This comes as a PDF only pattern, but you can obviously have it as copy shop if you don't want to do the tiling yourself. It comes in sizes UK 6 to 22. You can see there are two versions here. I'm sort of concentrating on the polo neck version because that's closer. It's got a drop sleeve, it's got slits in the side. You can see it's kind of longer in length as well. So this one was almost perfect actually. If you're unsure of the shape, I've got another option which I thought would work really well if you wanted something a little bit shorter. The Soho 7 Cosmos sweatshirt would work really fantastically. So this comes as a paper and a PDF pattern. It is available in sizes 0 to 20, no sorry, sizes 0 to 34. And it's split into two different size bandings on this one. So, fabrication for this, you'd be using if you wanted to make it as a top, you'd make it in a jersey. If you wanted it as a jumper, you'd make it with sweatshirting. I think for this sort of the style that we're looking at, you'd want to use a sweatshirting for this. I really like the raglan sleeves on it. I thought it was, and that kind of baggier boxy sleeve I thought was quite useful. You can also add cuffs. And I like the kind of waistband along the bottom. So I thought that was quite a useful item. For the tighter fitting polo necks, I've got two options for this. If you wanted to go for something kind of not skin tight, the paper cut patterns rise and fall turtleneck I thought was really fantastic. This is a real house classic. Loads of people have made it. It's been around for a long time. It's an oldie but a real goodie. It's available in paper format only. It's in sizes UK 4 to 20. Yeah, so it's not as tight fitting as some of the pictures. So if you wanted to go for something tighter, I thought that the Megan Nielsen Rowan body suit and tee would work perfectly for this. Obviously there's two variations, so you can make it as a body, so it's like almost like a swimsuit, poppers at the bottom, or you can make it as a top. There are actually three different neckline variations for this, so you can go for a round neck, a V-neck, or the polo neck, and obviously we're sort of looking at the polo neck. It's available in sizes 6 to 20, and for this you'd be looking at a jersey fabric. What type of jersey is completely up to you. There are kind of, if you wanted to use a cotton jersey, that would be slightly thicker. There are really nice viscose jerseys which have a little bit more drape, slightly kind of thinner, and I think those would work really well with these as well. So after you've got your polo neck, we move on to shirts, and these were everywhere, honestly everywhere. So if there's one thing that you're going to make this season, and it's a really good thing to learn how to make as well, it is the shirt. So again with this, there are two different kind of styles. On the left we've got the mango and the jigsaw. So these was kind of classic shirt shapes, but made in silks and rayons and floaty fabrics, so they feel quite feminine and almost fall into a blouse category. The other option was the Whistles and the Zara version, which are almost like boyfriend style shirts, either worn open over a polo neck. So you're making your polo neck, then you make your shirts, you've got an outfit, and or kind of boxy and tucked into a pair of trousers or skirt. So for the shirts, I thought I picked 3 shirts, and I think they're, well, I hope you're pleased. So the first one, if you're thinking oversized boxy boyfriend, I love the Assembly Line oversized shirt. This is a paper only pattern. It comes with 2 size bandings and it's available from size UK 8 to 30. I think this is such a fab shape. It's really nice and loose. It's got interesting details, button down the front, and it's quite, you can see that it's quite long, so you'd wear it over a kind of tighter pair of trousers. You could also wear it open or have a polo neck underneath, which I think would look really nice with it. If you were looking for something sort of looser fitting but not quite as kind of oversized as that, I thought that the Tessuti inner shirt would be really fantastic. So this is a paper only pattern. It comes in sizes UK 6 to 22. This is such a great pattern. It's been really, really popular and I can totally see why. It's a really nice shirt, but you could also make this and almost wear it as like an overshirt. So I was thinking if you wanted to wear a shirt open like the one that I showed you with the polo neck, this could be a really nice option. It's got a really interesting big pocket detail on the side, and it's been super popular. Everyone has really loved this. So I thought that would work well. If you wanted to go down the more blousey kind of sewing with slippery fabrics, which is obviously more tricky to do, I thought the Liesl & Co classic shirt would be really great for this. This has been around for a while. It's a fantastic pattern. It's available as a PDF and paper, and it comes in sizes UK 8 to 20. So this shirt, if I show you a picture of the line drawing, you can have a look. An absolute classic shape. It's got pockets on the breast, which you could leave off if you didn't want to. And it's got all the other core details, buttons down the front, a proper collar, stand collar, cuff details. So it's quite an evolved make. If you're going to make this with a slippery fabric to try and make it similar to the ones I showed you, you need to be quite confident on the machine, because the slippery fabrics, sewing this sort of precision sewing makes it a bit trickier. So I will just say that before I get emails from people who are beginners and are trying to do this. This is definitely not beginner territory. But yeah, so I hope those 3 shirts are kind of a good kind of cross section. The other thing I saw, these sort of blouses, lots of this really kind of simple shape. I love this shape actually. I think it's really useful. I've got a couple of these in my wardrobe and I live in them. So again, they sort of came in 2 different feels. There is the one, so if I show you the COS, if you look at the COS one in the middle, that's made in a poplin. So it's quite crisp cotton. It feels quite almost unisex, and it's quite boxy. Then the Whistles one is actually exactly the same shape, but it's just made in something drapey and feels completely different because of the fabrication. So it's quite interesting looking at things and actually just thinking, actually I could buy this one pattern and make it in 2 different ways with 2 different fabrics, and it would feel completely different. One feels very day wear and one feels very much like sort of, you know, going out wearing to like a nice dinner or something. So I've got 2 options for you. The first one is the Fibre Mood Tilly blouse. This is a PDF only, but obviously there's copy shop available. It comes in sizes UK 4 to 30. I absolutely love this pattern. I think it's beautiful. So it's got that lovely grandad collar, buttons all the way down the front. It's got 2 patch pocket details on the breast, and it's also got this really beautiful sleeve with a gathered cuff. It's quite a kind of statement. I think it's really chic. And again, if you can see that this one is made in a beautiful kind of, I guess it looks like a sand washed sort of crepe. You can make this in a cotton and it looked totally different. So that one I thought was a really strong option for that. The other one I've got, which I really liked, is the Wardrobe by Me Heart Tunic. This comes as a PDF only, and it's available in sizes UK 6 to 24. I picked this one, I know it's quite similar, but the thing I liked about this is actually this is a pop-over detail. So you actually pull it on and the placket doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. It's got the lovely grandad collar again. There are different options for the sleeve, and there's a pocket on the bust, which you can leave off if you didn't want to. But I thought this might work better if you are much more cotton-based. This would be a really nice option. And again, it's a really classic shape that you can wear over and over again. So that's blouses. Dresses. So let me show you, the jumper dress was really, really big. I saw this everywhere. Again, came in sort of 2 styles, sort of skin tight, generally high-necked, or high-necked and a little bit more relaxed fit. Obviously, you know, if you wanted to recreate this, you'd be sewing this in a jersey rather than in a, you know, it's like rather than proper knit. But I actually think that's better. It sort of holds its structure better. So I've got 2 really fantastic patterns. If you want to go down the tighter fitting option, the True Bias Nico top and dress. This comes as a PDF and a paper, and it's available in sizes 0 to 30. I will say that this actually would work really fantastically for the polo neck option because this is a top as well as a dress. So you could buy this one pattern and you get kind of 2 looks for this winter out of it. So let's have a look at the line drawing. You can see that there's a top, obviously, as I just said, a dress option. There are slits at the side, high neck, long sleeve or sleeveless. Obviously at the moment we're probably going to go for sleeves because it's getting cold, but I thought this one was almost bang on. Again, you can make it in different types of jersey. I would say a sort of mid-weight cotton jersey would probably work best for this, unless you wanted to make it kind of tighter and go for a viscose jersey. So I think that would be one really good option. If you wanted to go down the more relaxed fit, I would suggest the Barra Studio Miller dress. I think this is really fantastic. It's quite similar in shape. It's got a slightly kind of almost, it's a polo neck with a slight bit of drape and it's almost like slightly cowled. It's much kind of more of a relaxed fit. It comes down to midi length, which is kind of bang on. And it comes as a PDF pattern only and available in sizes 6 to 20, this one. So next up on the dress front, the shirt dress. Now I will say, now we're looking at this is a kind of separate to sewing. If you are thinking about investing in an item of footwear for winter, boots. Boots were really, really popular. You can see here every single one of these is styled with a boot. Loads of dresses were all worn with boots. Heeled and flat, but knee-high boots. So if you're thinking about investing in an item of clothing, like shoes, I would check out knee-high boots because they were very much in. So the shirt dress, this sort of relaxed fit shirt dress in muted prints was everywhere. I was really excited because I saw that and I thought this is a really versatile piece. This is something that you'll wear over and over again. So I was chuffed. I've got 2 really fab patterns for you. So the first one is the Atelier Dupe Tills dress. This is available as a paper and a PDF. It's available in sizes UK 8 to 26. I picked this one because it's a really classic shape. It's got buttons down the front. There are 2 different neckline options. There's a grandad collar, which would work really nicely, or a traditional sort of kind of collared shirt dress. It's got a tie round the waist. It's got bust darts. It's quite simple actually, but again, if you pick a lovely muted print, I think this would work really well. The other option I thought would work really well is the Tilly and the Buttons Lyra dress. So this is very similar to the styles that I saw. You can see this lovely shirt dress, button down the front. The placket finishes at the waistband for this dress. It's got different sleeve options. There's sort of, tulip sleeve. There's an option with a belt, and then it's got these kind of tiered panels on the dress. I think this is a really fantastic pattern. It's available, sorry, I got distracted, as a paper and a PDF, and it's available in sizes 6 to 34, this one. So I thought those 2 would work really well. Right, now we're moving on to outerwear. I'm aware that this is getting very long, so I'm going to talk a bit quicker. So outerwear, this was a real core trend I saw in lots of different shops, the oversized bomber. Imagine anyone who was a teenager in the early, well, the 90s, that sort of black bomber with the, do you remember, with the orange lining? Imagine that, and kind of basically you borrowed it off your boyfriend. So they're quite big and boxy, loads and loads of these, either with poppers down the front or zips. So I've got 2 patterns. Obviously, because you will want to make this bigger, I would suggest sizing up at least 2 sizes, probably a couple of sizes. So the Simplicity Bomber S8418 I thought was really fantastic. It's a really popular bomber pattern. It's perfect. It's got the raglan sleeves. It's got all the nice details. So as long as you sized up a couple of sizes, that would work really fantastically. The other pattern I thought could work well is the Itch to Stitch Causeway Bomber. This is a PDF only. It comes in sizes UK 6 to 36. I like this one. It's got interesting seam details around the front. There's a lot more going on here in terms of the construction. But if you are looking for something with a bit more, you want to, you know, to challenge yourself a bit more, I thought this one could work really well. And again, you'd want to just size up a couple of sizes. Might be worth making a toile just to make sure that you kind of get it as kind of boxy as you like it. So next on the outerwear front was the big relaxed coat. This was kind of the hero piece, I would say, in loads of the shops. The big coat was always on the mannequin. It was styled, as you can see, with your polo neck underneath. Again, the layering, you can see the jigsaw one, the mix of proportions and the white shirt. So again, you've kind of got your white shirt, you've got your polo neck, you've got all these things, and then you've got your coat. So in terms of the actual shape, there were lots of double-breasted, there were lots of single-breasted, there were lots of wrap ones with a tie. That didn't seem to be, it was more the sort of oversized boxiness of it. So I've got three patterns. Again, you might want to size up these to make them feel more boxy. The first one is the Syle Arc Almond Coat. I love this. I thought it was really fantastic. It's available as a paper only, and you can get it in sizes 4 to 30, and they're split across 2 bandings. So this has got a raglan sleeve, a kind of classic coat with a tie wrap detail, tie at the front, sorry, so there are no fastenings, which makes it a little bit easier in terms of the constructions. You can see from it, it's got paneling as well, so you can actually tweak the kind of fit on this quite easily. I just think it's gorgeous. So it's got a 2-piece collar as well, and there's kind of angled pleats on the back bodice. So there's quite a lot of things going on. It's a more involved make. It kind of almost looks easier than it is. So that's the first coat. The second one is the Bella Loves Patterns Traveller Coat, which I love. This is a PDF only pattern. It comes in sizes 6 to 22. This is gorgeous. So it's kind of relaxed fit. It's double breasted. It's got that kind of big chunky sleeve that we're kind of looking for. It's got a drop shoulder. It's almost, I liked it because it was a bit of a mix of a trench and a kind of proper kind of tailored jacket. It's got lots of nice detailing on seam down the centre back. There's also a tie as well, so you can tie it as well as button it. So there's lots of different options for that one. Again, this is quite an involved make, so actually the whole coat section is an involved make, but I thought this one was gorgeous and worked perfectly. The last one is a McCall's pattern. It's the McCall's 8246. This is a really quite involved make. I loved it and I thought it was worth putting in. So you can see it's a real sort of, it's got that oversized feeling, and I think that's because of the storm flaps on the front of the coat, and it's got a kind of big sleeve. So let's have a look at the line drawing. You can see it's kind of a classic trench coat. It's got a tie at the waist. There are 2 different length options for this. We'd be looking at the longer one. There's an optional tie, raglan sleeves. I mean, there's just details galore in this one. So I think, again, this is also, you could make this in as a winter coat, and you could also make this as a spring coat, because a trench coat never goes out of style, in my opinion. So it would be a really nice kind of big involved project that you could kind of get stuck into. So last but not least, on the outerwear is the Shearling Aviator jacket. I saw a lot of these. I was actually quite surprised because I didn't sort of see them coming. They're quite an investment piece in terms of buying them. So the Whistles one, for example, was £1,200. It's gorgeous. I did stroke it and think I would love it, but obviously that is quite a wild amount of money to spend. The mango version was a lot more reasonable, but these, I did see quite a lot of these, and obviously we saw the kind of sleeveless version available as well in the cold arm part. So I've got 2 patterns for you. The first one is a bit like the mango one. It's a bit, it's got slightly less details, so it's a bit easier to make. It's the You Made My Day Sweet Winter Biker Jacket. Wow, that's a long name. It's a PDF only pattern. It's available in sizes 6 to 18. I thought this was a really nice kind of simple version. If we look at the line drawing, you can see that there are two different options. There's one where you've got no fastenings, or there's one that you can button it up. I would probably ear towards one with no fastenings because that's kind of closer to what we saw on the high street. For this, obviously, is going to be finding the right fabric, finding a faux shearling and a faux suede so you can get them to work together. Sewing those on your machine is going to be slightly trickier, but it's definitely worth, you know, it's not worth a go. And actually, you could use a different fabric. You could use a tweed on the front and a shearling on the inside, so, or kind of faux shearling. Anyway, there's lots of options. The last pattern I've got is the Carly Aviator jacket from Syle Arc. This is one that we actually don't have, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it's got lots of the details. It's got that sort of diagonal zip, it's got the collar that pops up and the kind of details, you know, little like buckle details, two-piece sleeve. It's got lots of interesting details. So if you really like that sort of aviator look and the other one isn't quite right, I thought this one was definitely worth mentioning. So that is it from me. I hope I mean, if you're still awake, well done, congratulations, you've made it to the end. I hope that was useful. I hope you found some stuff that you'd like to sew this winter, and yes, inspired you to kind of get the machine out and get some stuff and look at what you have in your wardrobe, reconfigure things. You can even like reconfigure old things that you've already made. And yes, I'm going to shut up now. So have a lovely weekend. Bye!